Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I just got in a little while ago. I've been chatting with the FM that's on the server. We're actually off by about an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and do the server sync. And there we go. So we gain about an hour. And at this point, as I've thought about what I need to do, we are warm enough. So I'm going to go ahead and get the hemp done. I decided I'll finish that up, even though I'm probably going to regret it later. But you know, it's just early summer, so I've got some time, and I've only got 3 fields, one of which is small. So I'm going to go ahead and get those fields finished with that. And then, you know, that will get us, whatchamacallit, kind of not really in sync, because obviously, you know, we're now off a season, which is fine, because that will create some rotation, and if it starts to bug me enough, obviously I'll make some changes. But I swore this worked last time when I just pulled up next to the... Oh, I don't have liquid fertilizer in there. I'm just sometimes so daft. Alright, well here I do have seeds, so those should work. Okay, I guess not. I wonder if because this is a tender and it has a pipe, if that's why that won't function that way and won't just let me pull up next to it. I'll try it again, but once I have everything set up and connected, and we'll see if I get a different result, but my guess is I won't. Nope. Alright, so let me pull out, and then we'll fill that up, because obviously we know the seeds are really crazy usage. And that way I'm at least starting out with a full thing of seed. Alright. So yeah, I want to get that done, and then once I have the seed empty, I can then turn the hopper into lime, is kind of the thought. That should work. There we go. Alright. Alright. But yeah, I can get the lime is not determinant on crop, but I know I'm going to need a good amount of that, and so rather than trying to lime first and obviously have to change out what's in the tender, I'll get things planted. Oh, it messed me up because I was heading to where the field was and not realizing when it redrew it would be a little further, but anyway. Alright, so that lowers it. This turns it on. And there we go. With the seed pouring out and everything else moving along. So the fertilizer, I think, should be okay for a bit. And then, I mean, the nicest thing would be if it was okay for this field. I don't know that I'm going to quite make the whole field, but then I may just plant up there and then finish off down here or something. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But I know I'll have to refill the seeds, and that's fine, because it's just kind of how it goes. Oops. Haven't set my GPS, so I'm doing that now. That should be good enough. Turn it. And then I'll just start doing my thing. Well, you know what? Let me do a second pass so that I'm not at all playing with the telephone poles. Because that will give me a much wider swath of field that is done. Not even sure I'm going to finish this piece without running out of seed, but I'm not at 50% yet, so in theory I should. But the other issue is potentially I was off the field a little bit more and I wasn't getting 100% of usage, so it might use a little more seed this way, but either way I still wasn't, I think, at 50% till I was well onto the field. So, and yeah, I'm still at 30%, so I think I'm going to be okay. All right. So I guess let me position this, and then I will go ahead and start going up and down the field. We'll see how long it takes us. Alright, so obviously just as we had last year, we're going to have significant consumption of seeds. My guess is I'm going to have to fill the tender at least one time. But I'm going to go ahead and get that work done, and I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I've run out of fertilizer about halfway through this field. So I'm at this point going to go ahead and make the trip up to 97, 98, and I'm going to work on those. And I can just refill from the silos as needed. And that way I don't necessarily need to move the truck or do anything there. We'll see how that all goes. So I'll be up there in a bit, and I'll see you after that. So yeah, I forgot the wood chipper up here. So in the middle of all this work, I get to fix that. So I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, I can't even turn around, so I'm gonna leave this here and move the wood chipper. So this is a perfect example of why I try to clean up after myself at the end of jobs, because invariably this happens. You're just on to the next thing, and suddenly it's disrupted because you've got to go ahead and fix it. So at this point, I'm still kind of going to do it halfway, in that I'm going to just get this off the field and put it in the yard. Probably I was going to put it at the edge, but once again, just to not have the possibility of suddenly I'm in the grass and my planter's in the way and so forth. I'll just leave it there. So I think I'm going to put it on the front end of my silo. And just kind of leave it here, and that way if it sits for a bit, it's out of the way, I say with a question, because invariably there are things I don't think of that I'm suddenly like, ah, that's totally in the wrong place. But right now, I think that's the best thing I can do. So I basically started on the back here in 97, so all I've done is the one pass across the back, and now I'm just going to continue. So that's the plow piece from winter work that we did in the live stream. So that is not actually planted yet, but I'm just going to keep moving along on this, and I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I'm back over here on the other edge, and I've lined up to my new field edge that I made in the winter, so I just wanted to show you guys how that all worked. Back here, obviously I was a little bit wide, but since I kind of have to work that corner anyway, it's really not that big of an issue. But at this point, you know, we'll be able to have a straight edge of this field and not have to sit there and play with moving around. Obviously we've got these bushes here that overhang a little bit, but they're not going to be any kind of a problem. We're going to run out of seed here. So, like I said, right now my plan is I'm just going to kind of keep going and topping things off. I may decide that doesn't make any sense, but I'm not quite sure that it's significantly any more efficient to jump in, run the truck over, and so forth anyway. I mean, yes, I'm only moving at 24 miles an hour, but I'm also not going that far. So it would take me a good minute, 2 minutes to get up here with the truck, and I'm going to need it back down there anyway, so you know, you can double that, say 2 to 4 minutes, and I'm just not sure that I'm going to necessarily spend that much time running back and forth down the field, because the other pieces, obviously I'd have to jump in the truck, drive it up near the tractor, all that, and if I had been unfolding things as I was driving, there wouldn't have been any delay, and there still may not be a delay. This may unfold fast enough anyway. But clearly my folding and unfolding, unless I just happen to be right next to the silo, I've got time to do it as I move around. So, you know, I think this will work just fine. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and go down the field. And the nice thing here is, not that I wasn't able to do a GPS line down this side of the field before, but when I did, at this point, my left side of the harvest, or the planter or seeder, would not be doing anything. It would be in grass, and there wouldn't be active field there. So we're going to get a little bit more yield off this field, just because there's more space, and you know, just more efficient use of our implements, because they're at 100% all the way down this field for planting, for harvesting, for spreading. So there isn't any waste as there was before. So that is definitely the plus I was hoping for. The other side, you know, I already saw I didn't have any, those trees were gone, so I wasn't hanging up on them, but I'll definitely be back at the end there on the other side to kind of show you how the clearance works there and what we see differently. So I'll see you in a bit. So I'm on the opposite side of field 97, and I'm going to get this done. You can see that even down here it's too wide if I follow the GPS line, so I'm just kind of going to head down here as we get closer to the north end of the field where we took those 3 trees out this winter. And so we are on our 12th load of seed on this field. I believe we're going to be able to finish it without filling again, and this is our second load of fertilizer. So certainly significant consumption. You know, we're coming up on probably 40,000 liters of seed just on this field, and about 3,700, 3,800 liters of fertilizer. So a quick analysis, which is why I decided to do hemp on these fields, was I was getting about 8,000 or 9,000 profit per acre versus 6,000 or 7,000. So I was getting, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 more per acre. So this is about where we took out those trees. I think kind of went this dirt and the grass starts. So they would have been like literally right out to the edge of the planter at this point. But here we've got now plenty of space. Alright, so we've got this done at this point. I'm going to go ahead and refill before I begin 98 and collect my data. And then I'll start 98, and I will head back down to 89 to finish that up. So I will see you in a bit. So I finished up planting the hemp, and obviously fertilizing the fields along with that, so that work is done. I'm now up here after having unloaded the seeds, filling up with lime so that we can lime 89 and the couple fields up here. So it's taken us, what, about 2.25 hours so far this morning to do the work. So definitely keeping busy, taking some time to get things done. Even filling this lime, it's not the fastest thing, but it's a lot of liters. It's a big truck, so we've got plenty of lime. That's the good news. We've had about 170,000 liters in the silo, so if somehow we need more than this, we will be able to do that. And I may use the truck up here too anyway, because there's not really a benefit to running the tractor back and forth when I've got the truck and then having to empty the truck anyway. So there we go. Good news is the wood chipper has been out of the way. I haven't felt like, oh goodness, why do I have that there? Like obviously I did when it was sitting on the field earlier this morning as I was planting. But yeah, we're into now kind of our field prep or field maintenance, you know, whatever you want to call it. We need lime in this case. We're going to need herbicide next. We could already do that on our oat fields as those have sprouted today. So we've got oats coming up from the ground, which I guess we really probably won't necessarily see. Well, we will when I get the spreader actually. So we'll be leaving from 29 and 30 where we have the storage. But yeah, this truck I'm just going to leave over at 89 because there's obviously no point in driving it all the way back to the farm to then just move it out to this field. So let me start to extend the pipe so that is ready. And I'll go ahead and kind of put it on the neighboring field here. Alright, let's jump over to the spreader. So there you can see our oats. And I have, you know, cleaned up and maintained everything else, so planter, the tractor are all good to go for next time. So I'm trying to be a little more relaxed and less crazy about the farm here, so. It's just gonna require us to go get in this truck, isn't it? Guess it's gonna do more than that. There we go. It's always kind of hit or miss as to whether it's gonna work or not work. But anyway, so we've got the lime. Definitely go ahead and run a headland here. Okay, can go out a little bit. Get our GPS set at the same time, so that we have that ready to go. But yeah, this should obviously be a much quicker chore than the others, aside from filling up and so forth. And some of this will depend on how much lime the field needs. Again, precision farming in use, so it will modify what is needed, but you know, it shouldn't be too crazy. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and line up here. There's not really a reason not to. Oops, wrong way. So we've got a little ways to move from the edge of the field here. Alright. Back ourselves up. Actually, we don't need to. So we're actually on the line. Keep forgetting how large the spread is on this. But we should be good. So, yeah, you know, I've got crops for this year in the ground then, so I'm happy that's done by early morning in early summer. So at this point, I've got crop in all of my fields, all 7 of them, which was more than I was expecting when I kind of started out this year, because I just really felt like maybe I wasn't going to go ahead and make the effort on these, but the temperature was up there today, and we're still in early growth stages, so it was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So I certainly want to keep the farm being as profitable as possible, but also trying to keep the workload manageable. But this seemed like a reasonable thing. The big question is whether I'm going to continue to do herbicide today, or will I wait? Because I could theoretically do both, you know, do all the fields tomorrow once these also sprout. So I'm leaning that way. I just have a slight bit of trepidation about if the oats suddenly become harvestable, I'll have missed the opportunity, or the barley becomes harvestable, I'll miss that. So yeah, sorry, I was saying oats earlier have sprouted, but that's right, we have planted barley, so gotta keep that in mind. And I wasn't paying attention, and yeah, the spreader goes off kilter pretty quickly, so let me reline up here, and then we'll be good to go. So let me jump to the truck. I'm not quite sure what the distance is that determines the engine shut off, but obviously when you get a certain amount away, it won't stay running. I forgot this was 10,000. I'm like, why do I only have 35,000? I should have 40, because I've been using implements that are around 5,000 for so long with this that I forgot the spreader is 10. Because, yeah, the other thing that I've kind of gotten off before, this used to be my fertilizer supply as well, and now I'm using the auger. So, yeah, I've just been filling a lot of things that need 5,000 or so, and it's thrown me off a bit. But anyway, let's keep this moving. I'm trying to remember, I'm thinking it is almost a full truck of lime to get one of these larger fields done, so I may be running tight here. I may actually have to run and get more. And it's kind of is what it is. While it may be unfortunate that I have to spend that little bit of time, that's just what's required in making the farm work. So, and as I said, some of this is dependent on just how much the field's going to take, and obviously it's likely taking quite a bit. When I turn around here, I'll get my help menu up, and then we'll be able to kind of see what the real consumption is. Yeah, 0.75 is about the highest that I've certainly seen. 0.833 sometimes in certain games I played. I don't know that I've seen it on Misty Hills here in FSN, but this definitely is the high end of consumption. It can certainly, I've seen it drop down to 0.25, which obviously would be using lime at a third of the pace, but that's not what's happening on this field right now. So the other thing I'm going to check once I kind of get going again, the problem is I'm going to be near the bottom of the field here, and then I'll have to turn around. Well, I may actually finish this and turn around before I run out of lime. It's definitely going to be close about whether I get this row done or not. Nope, not quite. So close, but so far. But the good news is I'll be turning around with almost a full tank, and if I'm estimating, I'm probably accurate in that I'm gonna need, well, maybe not. So I've got 2 full loads, and then in theory, I still have 5,000 left, so I probably can get this field done. I don't want to jinx myself here, but alright, at that point the truck kept running, so as I said, it's an interesting trade-off as to when it doesn't and when it does. Alright, so just less than 100 liters to finish the field, so we were definitely close. Alright, so what I was going to check is I just want to make sure on precision farming we don't have a, outdated data popping up somehow unexpectedly. We do not, so yeah, we'll just continue doing this work and get this done, and we'll see you in a bit. Alright, so completed liming the field, so about an hour to get all the work done across all 3. I ended up emptying the truck as I expected, down in 89, and then I've just been filling the lime from this location here as I've gone around. So I think I've got about 50,000 liters in lime on the fields up here, and I think it was about 40 down. Well, it was about, yeah, a little over 40 because I had to use the last 5,000 down there. So let's say 80 to 90,000 liters of lime dispensed at this point. So for now, I'm certainly going to be taking a break, and oh goodness, every time I go around that turn, when I've got the gas on, it just whips around with this tractor. I don't understand, but either way. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be stepping away for a little bit. I may get back on and do the herbicide, but I'm thinking honestly I'm going to probably just do it tomorrow. Let me just take a quick look here. In theory, I should be okay. I mean, it's showing a mid-growth state, and my concern is, you know, in theory, oats are already harvestable. So, or barley. I keep saying oats because I've just been growing oats for so long, but you know, barley's in the harvest state. I don't know. I'll see. I think I'm going to take the chance and just wait till tomorrow, and I guess if I miss the opportunity, I miss the opportunity and I learn, but it's usually a lot more efficient for me to be trying to do a job, if I have it, across all the fields all at once, especially one where I can't really tell what I've done and what I haven't done. So my bigger concern is if I'm partially able to finish the 4 barley fields but can't do them all, it's not like there's an indicator on the map to let me look and remind myself what I have left to do. So and once again, I'm trying to spread the work a little bit so that I just do a little bit each day, because that's just realistically a little bit better as far as fitting it into real life schedules and so forth. As if I, you know, have 3-4 hours a day, that's a lot easier than if I've got to put in a marathon day of 10 or 12 hours at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, because this really doesn't look that tall. Let me see. If I go into the reader, I mean, this really looks like it's just started. Yeah, it's telling me 33%. I mean, it's possible it'll jump all the way, but I'm thinking I've got one more day, so I'm going to give it a shot. If it was at 67%, I'd be almost certain it would be at full growth tomorrow, but that's not what it's at, and to my knowledge at least, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where to put this. I think I'm going to put it behind the planter, so let me circle back around, or behind the seeder. I'm just trying to get myself in a position here where I'm not then having to move implements around, so if I can back them into each other. So if I go ahead and either put it against the planter or the seeder here, then I can just pull it out and pull either one out as needed and not have to worry about something being in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and put it here. This is pretty sloppy. I'm going to clean that up because I'm actually trying to give myself a path through for the planter if I can, because what that will allow me to do, I don't think that's going to work either. Nope. This is harder than it would seem. But once I pull out the sprayer for the herbicide, I will then have more width there, and I can then set it up where I can pull through the planter into storage. Alright, that'll work. I don't need it. I don't need to be up cleanly on my end here, because now I'm just going to pull forward and leave. So then when I back in, it'll just be a cleaner thing. But so if you see what I'm saying, I'm going to take that herbicide sprayer out next. And I'll actually just go ahead and line up with that, because I know that's going to be my next move tomorrow. And just connect that up. I don't think it's going to stay connected, but it'll at least stay hitched. But when I pull that out, then I've got all that space in the center, and then I can reposition the planter, you know, if I park this a little bit further over, because again, I can pull through with the sprayer as well. So that's my plan. So that is it for early summer on Hilly Seneca, and I will see you next time.